Hello and welcome to Simply Sport with me Neeraj Prabhu. With what has been going on in the Indian Super League, football seems to have become the most popular sport in India. And in today's program, we will discuss everything with regards to the ISL. We have with us former India international Francis D'Souza. Francis, let's get to the point straight away, and I want your views on what were your expectations when the Indian Super League concept was being floated around.
It was really wonderful because the crowds that have come in, they have switched on from the the gentleman game to the beautiful game. That was very heartening. With the crowds from the 70s and 80s and the 90s have come back to football. In fact, the crowds have been starved of some football, and that's why I think they have come back to show their passion and the love for the game.
The best part of ISL so far, as we see it, is the crowd, and it has become the fourth most attended league in the world, and only behind the English Premier League, the La Liga, and the Bundesliga. Because the average attendance for the ISL match has been around 24,000. So, you pleasantly surprised with that?
No, I think if you think about the performance and the attendance of the crowd in the 70s and 80s, we had packed houses in Calcutta, Kerala, Goa, and to some extent in Bangalore and Hyderabad. But it has not been a surprise to me because there are people who love football and they have the passion for the game and they are interested to come and watch. But whenever they used to be there, they used to be disappointed with the quality of football that was displayed. And here the expectations were huge, and with the big names dominating the ISL, the public have come to see what they can deliver.
Right. Let us go back to the time, maybe a couple of years back, when there was talk of this league coming in. People were saying that there would be a league which would be based on a franchise model, and this model was very successful in the IPL cricket. But there were a lot of people who were critical of this concept, and they said it worked in cricket, but it will never work in football because football is not the most popular sport in India. So, at that time, what did you think of this concept? What were your views at that time?
In fact, all my life and my playing career, I have always been an optimist, and the only factor that we have for Indian football is hope. And it is very heartening to see that a woman in the name of Nita Ambani was responsible for bringing this event of such magnitude to our country. Hats off to her and her team for bringing this event here. And with all the superstars, Bollywood stars supporting with a lot of their financial commitments, I think that is what is required for Indian football, the financial aspect of it. And that has been the beginning. So let's wait and watch what is happening.
Let's go back to 1996 when the National Football League was launched by AIFF. That was beginning of a proper league structure in India. Not that India did not have football in the past. It has the oldest football tournament in Asia in the form of Durand Cup running in India, which has just completed 127 years. But the league format came in existence in 1996. But I think from the early 2000, the Indian National Football League dwindled in terms of the crowd attendance. Why did you think that first of all crowd started going away from football?
You see, if any spectator wants to come there, he wants to satisfy himself and his passion. And if there is no delivery on that aspect from the stars that are participating in the competition, you won't find fans coming there. What the fans want to come and see is some scintillating football.
Yes.
And that's one basic reason that we find that the crowds were dwindling. And also we have to have a very good fan base in our country. Apart from East Bengal, Mohun Bagan, and no other state in the country has fan base. So you for regular matches you have this fan base coming and supporting the teams, irrespective of the performance of the club. I mean, and it gives an opportunity for players, whether they fail in one match or two matches, to satisfy their fans that are coming in large number they will boost their performance in the matches that are supposed to come. Like for example, FC Goa, they had a very huge fan base coming to watch them. But the performance of these the initial 4 matches were very bad. But the fans never deserted them.
Right.
They kept their hope in them because their expectations were there. If you have performances linked in the past, you have fans always supporting you. There are fans who don't give up. If you have a fan base of your club, they don't give up.
That's right. The fans have been coming to the stadium, but do you think that ISL organizers have worked very efficiently and very professionally in terms of marketing and packaging the league? Because when the league was starting and it was the first match, for the people to come to the ground, it is not about players. Is it about the hype that first gets the people to the stadium?
Look, the marketing has been tremendous. Much before the competition even got underway, you see the marketing was done tremendously. There was a professional team working at Nita Ambani and the ISL organizers were very professional in their approach. They had done their homework very well and they knew what could get the crowds to the grounds. And in that respect, in the first stage of their objective, they have succeeded more than 200%. They have got the fan base. Whether this will continue or not in the next edition, one will have to wait and watch.
Right. And the crowds have been coming and swelling in numbers as well. So the quality of football that is on offer, they have liked it, isn't it? And what are your comments about the quality of football in ISL?
I think when you have such marquee players coming, star players of latest World Cups or the past World Cups coming there, there are a lot of expectations. And when you have these expectations, there were few which in the opening matches there were some great goals being scored by these players.
Right.
And that has kept the momentum of the crowd's attendance going. They still have that expectation of some scintillating goals to be watched. What public really comes to see is not somebody putting and keeping the ball possession. They want to see some beautiful goals happening at the end of the pitch.
Have you liked what you have seen in ISL?
I have not been totally satisfied with the overall performance of the league itself, except for some beautiful matches that I have seen. There is a lot of for the beginning. I think it has been very great, but I think they will also have their think tank and they will be finding out what more has to be done to keep the interest and the enthusiasm of the fans alive.
I think one aspect which is not exactly ideal is that some of the top Indian players are not part of the ISL because their clubs have not released them. For example, Sunil Chhetri, the captain of Indian national football team, he is part of the Bangalore Football Club and they haven't sent their players for the ISL. I think the organizers need to look at this, isn't it?
You see, I think there was some sort of a disagreement initially between the I-League teams and the ISL. Somehow they couldn't come on board to finally decide what has to be done. It is sad because I think more than the clubs, the player himself has lost a very good opportunity of playing with some of the great stars of the world. And what helps football and the Indian stars is they are playing alongside with one of the best players in the world. They learn a lot of it.
Yeah.
And they can produce a part of the experience and the knowledge into the Indian team. That's where I think Sunil Chhetri has lost.
Right.
There
are some young Indian players who are really excelling on a daily basis. Players like Romeo Fernandes, Bandar Rao Desai, then Sandesh Jhingan of Kerala Blasters, Subhash Singh of Mumbai. So there are a lot of emerging talents in India which we are seeing blossom at the ISL, isn't it?
What has satisfied me a lot or pleased me a lot is that we have seen some young fellows performing really well, like Romeo and Mandar and Jhingan and all this. You see, what should not happen to Indian football is that our players who are in the late 20s or early 30s, they will not be contributing a lot to the Indian team. But if our under 23 players are participating and performing in this way, like you mentioned Romeo and Mandar, it's good for the Indian team. But what I must also say, is the professional approach and the quality of the football that they have to display is still missing. At what is expected from international level is still missing among our Indian players. Like for example, I would like to say, there were mention of commentators that Stephen Dias was a specialist in this cross balls.
Yes.
You see, we have seen a lot of Indian players not putting in those quality crosses. You see, because it takes a lot of hard work to get the ball on top of the area.
Yes.
And if you don't get it absolutely right in that attacking third, I mean, the end result is going to be poor.
Right.
And this has been the the drawback of Indian football, the quality of passes that come in ultimately. You see, this is what has been lacking. I've seen with the talent that the Indian players had and have to improve.
Right.
more.
Even the first touches, when they have to control a ball in one touch, I think our boys are pretty much slow with their first touches.
Yeah, you see these coaches who have come here, they're very professional and very knowledgeable coaches. Some of them like Zico and the other people who have been coaching Manchester City and all these clubs.
Yeah.
They don't have much time in this short span of 60 days to devote on these finer aspects of the game. I mean, they are supposed to get players who are good with these qualities initially. So I think it is left up to the player themselves with that professional approach to develop their own technical ability.
Right.
You see, it's left up to the individual. And that's where I've read a report on Zico, who says Robert Pires is still on the sideline and he's fit to play. But he says that he should be fit to play and deliver.
Right.
You see, that is what message is being conveyed to Indian players. When you are given an opportunity, you should be able to deliver.
Yes.
The expectations of the coaches and the public.
Talking about Zico and obviously FC Goa, they were at the bottom of the table at the halfway of their matches, and now they are in the top two. So, how do you analyze their performance and their improvement? What has gone on that has brought FC Goa from the gloom and doom of the bottom place to the top 4 position now?
Great coaches have their own way of working. You see, in a very short span of time, without any exposure to the quality of the other teams and to your own players, you see, the coach takes time to settle down, to study the players. And what Zico has done with this team in the initial stages with a bad run is to instill in the player, motivate the players and asking them to believe in themselves. You see, once the coach puts faith in you, you sort of, nothing succeeds like success, they say. And the confidence that he has given them has been the ultimate result for the remainder of the matches that they have played.
Right. I think in the initial part of the ISL, he was having a different format with Pires at the center of his formation. He has changed it drastically. So was Pires' two-match ban blessing in disguise?
He has moved Santos to the midfield.
Right.
Very rightly. And that has made all the difference, because he's been able to hold the ball for a little longer time. He's been able to give his players time to move into positions. And with his intelligence, he's been the major factor for all the difference that has been made into the game.
Right.